The next morning, I woke up feeling like everything still wasn't quite real. Early winter sunlight slipped through the dorm curtains, falling across the stack of textbooks still open on my desk. My phone buzzed softly beside my pillow. A message from Nathaniel.
7:12 a.m.
Good morning, boyfriend. My heart immediately started pounding. I stared at that last word for a long time before I answered.
7:14 a.m.
Good morning. That message woke me right up.
7:15 a.m.
Then it worked. I laughed at myself like an idiot. The first days of being together were nothing like I'd imagined. No fireworks. No constant string of dates. Our lives were just as busy as before. I still tutored Ethan 3 times a week. Nathaniel still had his internship. We were both still chasing deadlines late into the night. The only thing that changed was in the small details. A cup of coffee left outside my classroom door. A text, "Had lunch yet?" A brief brush of hands as we walked side by side through the library. And the feeling that, among thousands of students, there was always someone quietly searching for me with their eyes. A week later, Ethan got the results of his first group project. An A-. He burst into the apartment like he'd won the lottery. "Nathan, I got an A-." Nathaniel was cooking and nearly dropped the ladle. "Really?" Ethan held out his phone. "Look." Nathaniel checked the grade, then turned to me. "See? I told you." Ethan crossed his arms. "Fine. I admit it. Jasper's good. Just good. For now. This kid." Nathaniel shook his head, laughing. Then, without warning, he pulled me close and pressed a quick kiss to my cheek. A reward for the tutor. Ethan immediately let out a loud whistle. "Oh my God. I'm still standing here." My face went bright red. Nathaniel coughed lightly too, clearly having acted on instinct. But then he looked at me, the corner of his mouth curling up. Not the least bit sorry. That night, once Ethan had gone upstairs to study, Nathaniel washed the dishes while I wiped down the table.
"Sorry,"
he said. "For what?" "For earlier. I never said it bothered me." Nathaniel turned to look at me. "I just didn't want to put you in an awkward spot." I set down the cloth. "Nathaniel. We're dating." "Yeah. So it's not exactly a crime if you kiss me every once in a while." Nathaniel burst out laughing so hard he had to brace himself against the sink. "I love the way you comfort people. I'm being serious." "I know." He stepped a little closer. "So, how about now?" "Now what? Can I kiss you again?" I looked into those gray-blue eyes and nodded. This kiss was much slower, gentle, warm, and it left my mind completely blank for a few seconds. When we pulled apart, Nathaniel rested his forehead against mine, smiling softly. I think I like this." I laughed. "Just like." Nathaniel pretended to think it over. "Maybe more like really like." The end of the semester arrived faster than expected. The whole school plunged into exam season. The library stayed open until 2 in the morning. The coffee shop was always packed. Wherever you looked, students clutched their laptops like lifelines. Nathaniel and I practically moved into the library. Some nights, deep into studying, he'd rest his head on my shoulder for 5 minutes before going back to typing code. Some nights I'd doze off at the table, and Nathaniel would quietly drape his jacket over me. One night, close to midnight, I looked up and found him watching me. "What?" I was just thinking. "About what?" If someone had told me a year ago I'd be sitting here studying for finals with my boyfriend, Nathaniel laughed. "I definitely would have told them to see a doctor." I laughed too. And I would have asked them for the answer key. Final grades were posted right before winter break. Ethan got a B+ in his programming class. He stood in the middle of the living room and shouted,
"I'm alive."
Nathaniel pulled his little brother into a hug. "I'm proud of you." Ethan turned and hugged me too. "Thank you." It was the first time he'd ever hugged me first. I ruffled his hair. "I just helped a little."
"No."
Ethan shook his head. "You made me believe I could actually do it." I looked over at Nathaniel. He was already looking at me, his eyes impossibly soft. In that moment, I understood that love isn't only confessions and kisses. Sometimes, it's helping someone else find their way back to believing in themselves. Winter break began. I was getting ready to head back to Seattle for a few weeks. The night before my flight, Nathaniel drove me to the bus station. The wind cut sharp and cold. He tucked an extra scarf into my backpack. "You'll forget it if I don't." "I'm not that forgetful. You forgot your room key yesterday." "Fine." Nathaniel smiled, triumphant. As the bus was about to leave, he pulled me close. "Jasper. I'm going to miss you." I looked at him for a few seconds before answering softly. "Me too." Nathaniel kissed me quickly before I stepped onto the bus. No one around us noticed, but I still felt my heart pounding wildly. As the bus pulled away, Nathaniel stood under the yellow lamplight, hands shoved in his coat pockets, watching until it disappeared completely from view. I had no idea that after this winter break, our lives were about to enter a completely different chapter. A chapter of decisions after graduation. And, for the first time, I would have to ask myself whether love was strong enough to hold two people together when the future pulled them in different directions. Winter break ended faster than I'd expected. After nearly 3 weeks in Seattle, the first thing I saw stepping off the bus onto campus wasn't the familiar library building. It was Nathaniel. He stood leaning against his SUV, long since repaired, wearing a black wool coat, hands in his pockets, glancing toward the bus stop again and again as if afraid of missing someone. The moment our eyes met, he smiled. That smile made the entire 3,000-mile trip I'd just taken seem to melt away. I pulled my suitcase and walked faster. "Have you been waiting long?" Nathaniel shook his head. "About." He checked his watch. 45 minutes. I laughed. "That is not long." Nathaniel shrugged. "I missed you." 3 short words. But they always carried a strange kind of power whenever he said them. I no longer cared who might be watching. I walked straight into his arms and held him tight. This time it was he who tightened his grip first. "Welcome home," Nathaniel said very softly. I smiled. For the first time in years of living away from my family, I felt like this college town could actually be called home. Spring semester opened with a flood of recruiting emails. Big tech companies kept sending interview invitations to graduating seniors. Nathaniel was the first to receive offers from 3 companies: Boston, Chicago, Austin. I received 2 internship offers that turned into full-time job offers after graduation. One in Seattle, one in Chicago. At first, we both tried not to think about it too much. "Let's just interview first," Nathaniel said. "Right?" I agreed. "We'll figure the rest out later." But we both knew it. Later was coming fast. One evening after class, Ethan sat in the middle of the living room, looking from me to Nathaniel. "Can I ask something?" "Go ahead," Nathaniel said. "If you two end up working in different states, what then?" Nathaniel and I looked at each other. Neither of us answered right away. Ethan rested his chin on his hand. "Long distance." Nathaniel smiled faintly. "Hopefully not." "So one of you would move?" "We don't know yet." Ethan nodded. "I just hope." "What?" "Don't be idiots. Either of you." I laughed. "Where's this coming from?" Ethan looked straight at us. "Because I've watched Nathan lose someone before. This time, don't let both of you lose each other." The room went quiet. Nathaniel lowered his head slightly. I knew what he was thinking. I was thinking it too. The following weeks passed in a blur of interviews. Some days Nathaniel and I sat at opposite ends of the library, headphones on, prepping for technical rounds. At break, he'd roll his chair over to my side. "How'd the algorithms go today?" "I think it went fine." "You?" Nathaniel sighed. "They asked the exact question I hate most." "Which one?" "Tell me about your biggest failure." "What did you say?" Nathaniel laughed, a little embarrassed. "I was too honest. I told them about Daniel." I squeezed his hand gently under the table. "What did they say?" "They thanked me. Then they said, 'We can see you grew not just from your successes, but from your losses too.'" I smiled. I think they're right. Nathaniel squeezed my hand back. It's because of you. Why me? If I hadn't met you, I wouldn't have had the composure to tell that story. April arrived. Cherry blossoms bloomed thick along both sides of the campus paths. Ethan came running up to us after class. Phone held high. I got in. Got into what? The summer research program. Nathaniel hugged his brother instantly. That's amazing. Ethan turned to me. Jasper. It's all thanks to you.
No.
I shook my head. It's thanks to you. Ethan smiled. Okay. This time I actually believe it. I looked at the kid standing in front of me. Hard to believe this was the same person who'd talked about quitting the field just months earlier. Now, there was nothing but confidence in Ethan's eyes. It made me happy in a way that felt entirely its own. Near the end of April, Nathaniel and I both got our results. That evening, we agreed to meet at the wooden bench by the lake, the place where so many important conversations had happened before. Nathaniel got there first, holding 2 cups of coffee. Got your results yet? I asked. Nathaniel nodded. Yeah. You? Same. We looked at each other, both of us laughing at how nervous we were. Nathaniel opened his email first. He read for a moment, then looked up. They said yes. Chicago. Nathaniel nodded. Yeah. I smiled. Congratulations. You? I took a deep breath, then opened my phone. Read the email. My heart was racing. A few seconds later, I looked up at Nathaniel. A slow smile spread across my face. I got in too. Nathaniel rushed over and pulled me into a hug. Seattle. I shook my head. Nathaniel froze. So? I smiled. Chicago. Nathaniel looked at me like he couldn't believe his own ears. Really? Yeah. He hugged me even tighter. For the first time in months, the future no longer felt like something to be afraid of. It had suddenly become a road we could walk down together. But we still had one important milestone ahead. Graduation. And a promise I'd been quietly preparing for a long time. News that we'd both accepted jobs in Chicago spread faster than I expected. Actually, the first person to find out wasn't a friend. It was Ethan. Nathaniel had barely walked through the door, hadn't even taken his shoes off, when Ethan read the look on his brother's face and shouted, You got in. Nathaniel smiled. Yeah. Chicago. Yeah. Ethan immediately turned to me. Jasper. I held up my phone. Chicago too. Ethan stood frozen for exactly 1 second, then let out a scream so loud the neighbor's dog started barking back. Yes. He tackled both of us into a hug at once. I knew it. Knew what? Nathaniel asked. That you two couldn't do long distance. Why's that? Ethan shrugged. Nathan missed his boyfriend so much over 3 weeks of winter break, he looked like he'd lost his savings account. Nathaniel's face went red instantly. Ethan, am I wrong? Ever since Jasper left for Seattle, you stood out on the porch calling him every single day. I turned to Nathaniel. Is that true? Nathaniel cleared his throat. I just wanted to hear your voice. I laughed. You should have told me. I felt embarrassed. I missed you too. Nathaniel looked at me. Really? Yeah. I still have the bus ticket from the day you left for Seattle. Now it was Nathaniel's turn to look surprised. Why? I don't know. I wanted to keep it. Nathaniel quietly took my hand. A very small gesture, but enough to make Ethan cover his eyes. Ugh. There are children present. Nathaniel laughed. You're 20. Still a child. Fine, whatever. May arrived with soft, gentle sunlight. The campus filled with dark blue graduation gowns. Students took photos at every corner. Under the old oak tree, in front of the library, beside the school mascot statue. Nathaniel had never liked getting his picture taken. But that day, he was the one who pulled me over to the fountain. Stand here. Why? The light's nice. I laughed. Since when did you learn photography? Since. Nathaniel raised his phone. I wanted to keep as many memories as I could. We took a lot of photos. Some serious. Some where we were both laughing so hard our eyes were shut. One where Ethan ran into frame out of nowhere, threw up 2 peace signs, and grinned like he'd just pulled off the perfect prank. "We have to keep this one," I said. Nathaniel nodded. "Definitely." A week before graduation, Nathaniel's mother called me. "Jasper, it's me. I need to ask you for something." "Yes. Don't tell Nathan." I laughed. "Okay. Will you help me plan a surprise?" So for nearly a week, his mother and I secretly worked on it together. Not a proposal. We were both still too young for that. Just a gift. A gift to close out one chapter. I searched every shop in town. Finally found a brown leather-bound photo album. Inside, I printed every photo from the day we first met. Study group photos. Ethan holding up his B+ report. The 3 of us eating burgers. A photo by the lake. Family day. The first snow of the season. On the very last page, I left a blank space and wrote just one line. "The best pages. We'll write together from here." Graduation day finally arrived. The sky was an impossibly clear blue. The stands were packed. Ceremony music echoed across the stadium. I stood in line with the other graduates, unconsciously searching for Nathaniel. Only a few seconds later, he turned around too. Among hundreds of identical graduation caps, we still found each other. Nathaniel smiled. I smiled back. No words needed. A single look was enough to steady me. When the ceremony ended, students poured down onto the field. Congratulations rang out from every direction. Nathaniel's mother hugged both of us. "You two did so well." Ethan ran up with a bouquet so big it nearly hit his face. "For you too." Nathaniel took the flowers, smiling. "Thanks." "Don't thank me." "Why not? That thing was expensive." We all burst out laughing. Once the crowd had thinned, I pulled Nathaniel over to the wooden bench by the lake, the place where everything first started to change. "This is for you." I handed him the album. Nathaniel looked at me. "What is it?" "Open it." He turned the pages slowly, laughing at first, then little by little falling silent. When he reached the first photo with Ethan, Nathaniel gently traced the edge of it with his fingers. "You kept all of these?" "Yeah." "Since when?" "Since the day I agreed to be his tutor." Nathaniel kept turning pages, until he reached the last one. He read the line I'd written. He stood still for a long moment, then closed the album. "Jasper." "Thank you." "I know." Nathaniel smiled.
No.
"This time it's different." He looked straight into my eyes. "Thank you for walking into my life. If I hadn't met you, I'd still be alive. But I might never have learned how to be happy." I felt my eyes sting. "I have to thank you too." "For what?" "For giving me the chance to love someone I once thought would only ever be a crush." Nathaniel laughed. "You still remember that word?" "Of course. Thanks to you, I got the most worthwhile tutoring job of my life." Nathaniel tilted his head. "Worthwhile because of the pay?" I shook my head.
No.
"Because I accidentally ended up tutoring the little brother of the guy who'd become my boyfriend." Nathaniel laughed loudly, then took my hand, this time without a trace of caring who was watching. We walked together toward the family waiting for us up ahead. Chicago still lay ahead of us. Careers still lay ahead of us. So did all the challenges of adulthood. But this time I wasn't walking that road alone anymore. And I knew that no matter how much life changed, I would always remember the day I agreed to tutor the little brother of my crush, because that was the decision that brought the most beautiful love of my youth into my life.